1st, 2 o'clock p.m. in council chambers. First item up would be the adoption of some previous minutes, Committee of the Whole minutes from July the 7th, 2014, regular open minutes from July the 7th, 2014. Any input into those minutes? Hearing none, they'll be adopted by consensus. No business arising. Looking at the agenda, introduction of late items, there is one. It will be UBCM Ministerial meetings. It will appear as business 5 on the agenda. Is there any other late items coming forward? Hearing none, I'll take a motion. Councillor Rhodes, please, motion to adopt. And Councillor McCordoff, all in favor. The agenda has been adopted. Bringing us down to delegations. Very pleased to have Lauren Sherwood, part of the BC Ambassador program here, and she's going to make a presentation. Lauren, please. And great to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be back. How's that? Okay. Good afternoon, Mayor Stu Wells, councillors, ladies and gentlemen. As most of you know, my name is Lauren Sherwood, and last August I had the honor of being crowned one of 3 British Columbia ambassadors. I was proudly sponsored by the Osoyoos Elks Lodge number 436. The program, for those of you who don't know much about it, is open to youth ages 17 to 24 who have previously held an ambassador title in their hometown. Myself, I was Mrs. Osoyoos way back in 2006. The program's mandates are to promote post-secondary education through scholarships, forge links of friendship and understanding throughout the province, and nurture future leaders of the province. After 6 months of being a candidate, promoting the program, volunteering, and preparing for the competition, I medaled in the top 5 of 6 categories, including People's Choice, Promotion, Knowledge, Talent, Speech, and Community Presentation. And of course, had the honor of being crowned one of 3 British Columbia ambassadors, along with Camelia Vokey of Penticton and Casey Helgeson of Kamloops. My goal today is just to provide a little bit of an idea of what I've been doing the past year and to say thank you to the town of Osoyoos for all their support as well. This past year has been a whirlwind of adventures and travels. I attended the University of Victoria, where I'm pursuing a Bachelor of Science with a major in Geography and a minor in Professional Writing. I balanced school life with ambassador life and had the chance to volunteer at events and attend pageants throughout the year. Our first pageant was our neighboring town in Oliver, which Camelia and I both attended. On the island, I attended the Nanaimo and Ladysmith pageant and supported their candidates and retiring ambassadors. I also volunteered with the Best Buddies UVic chapter, which pairs students with people with intellectual disabilities and provides them with the opportunity to do activities together, including karaoke and ice cream nights, and there's some reading activities as well. I also helped out with the non-profit organization Signs of Hope in Africa at their Amazing Race event and an Easter egg hunt, and I got a chance to be a princess for a day with all the little girls and boys. The Western Division of the Canadian Association of Geographers Conference was held at UVic this past year, and I had the chance to be a tour guide to visiting faculty from different universities as well as students. And I also helped out with various activities over the weekend, including learning how to cook salmon the traditional First Nations way, which was delicious, and I may have had more than I needed to. Other events included the Remembrance Day ceremony at UBC in Vancouver, the Times Colonist 10K run, and touring around Victoria to see some of the attractions, Butchart Gardens, Butterfly Gardens, Parliament Buildings, Beacon Hill Park, Royal BC Museum, and a lot more. After a successful year at school, I returned home to Osoyoos in May, and I'm currently working at Shoppers Drug Mart and attending more events and pageants. In May and June alone, I traveled to Trail, Elkford, New Denver, and Castlegar for their pageants. It was great to see the Kootenays again, as I worked there a few summers ago, and I made it all the way to Alberta on the Rocky Mountains with the Osoyoos royalty, and it really helped to remind me just how beautiful BC is. I also went back to Victoria for the Victoria Day Parade, and was even interviewed on live television with no warning whatsoever, and stuck a mic in front of my mouth and said, "Here you go." Okay. It was estimated that around 50,000 people lined the streets to see that parade. So it was definitely a great opportunity for me to get the word out about the program and really just, help people know about it. On a more local level, I've been helping out and attending events around Osoyoos as well. bingo night at the Elks Hall with some of the candidates for the Osoyoos Royalty Program, Relay for Life with the now retired Osoyoos Royalty and the candidates, the reading club at the library, and having a chance to hold the peace torch that recently came through town. I've also been doing some volunteering with the Burrowing Owl Conservation Society, and I've been going out in the field and helping, feed them with their kind of dead chicks and mice, which is slightly disgusting, but just kind of get the chance to really do some actual field work, which is really cool. And of course, helping out with the Osoyoos Royalty Program behind the scenes and being in the Cherry Fiesta Parade. And as usual, the fireworks, I know most of you saw them, they were pretty spectacular. And in upcoming weeks, I'll be going to pageants in Lytton and White Rock, as well as helping out at the Osoyoos Desert Society's Romancing the Desert. I may also be doing a fundraiser to help with travel costs for the past year, but I'm not 100% sure yet, so just keep an eye out for information on that. So it's just a few more weeks before I pass my crown on to my successor, and I'm both sad and excited. It really feels like yesterday that I stood in front of you as a candidate and said, this is what I'm hoping to accomplish and go for, and I appreciate all your support. And now I'm here saying thank you for that support, because it looks like it paid off. And I had a fantastic year, and it was a privilege to represent Osoyoos last year as a candidate, and being able to represent BC and also spread the word about our fantastic little town, just around BC as well. And, for me, and just saying everyone, thank you so much for being, all the events that I've gone to and providing me, with the opportunity to help out at events and always indeed having Canada's warmest welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren. I'm sure Council will have a few comments. I'd just like to say it's really our pleasure to have you represent the town of Osoyoos. We are very, very proud of you, and you just did a great job of representing the town. It was a very, very successful year. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Councilman Murdoch.
Yes, thank you very much, Lauren. You've done a terrific job. You've been a great ambassador for Osoyoos, and I just hope that there are lots of other girls that will listen to what you have to say and do the same thing, because I think it's been an exciting year for you. And I think you have a career in politics at some point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one other question, Lauren. Are you growing, or were you always that tall?
I have some little bit. I go up and down with the heels.
Oh, my goodness.
I think it was last time, too. I got you straight. Thank you all.
Okay, thanks a lot. We're moving from that into water matters. quite a shift of gears here. Water accounts to be paid in the amount of $56,760.57. Councillor Laranjo, Councillor Morera, all in favor? Pay the bills. Under correspondence, no correspondence. Moving to bylaws. Bylaw number 1085.92, 2014, a zoning bylaw. Report from Director Cunningham, please.
Okay, and I have to apologize. I didn't have time to rush out and buy a silver Coronet. Wouldn't look so good in it in any event. So anyhow, so some background. Paul Pedersen, operator of the Osoyoos Desert Model Railway, is seeking to solidify the zoning status of his tourist attraction in the Buena Vista Industrial Park by applying for site-specific rezoning. And I'm pleased to see that Mr. Pedersen is here today. The owner of the property is Mr. Pedersen's daughter, Lottie Mendez. Attached is zoning bylaw number 108592214 to approve an indoor model railway tourist attraction as a site-specific permitted use in the M1 zone for the property at 11611 115th Street. Council is being asked to give first and second readings to the bylaw and to set a public hearing date. In support of his proposal, the applicant states that our business code is manufacturing and selling of wood products on a train model display. We are open year-round, Monday, Saturday, from 10 to 5, and attract thousands of people every year from around the world, so we think we are a real asset to the town. In a recent article in the Penticton Herald, he describes how the Osoyoos Desert Model Railway offers North America's largest Marlin train layout with 40 computer-operated trains traveling on 2 kilometers of track. The attraction was rated number 1 in the Okanagan Valley and number 9 in BC by TripAdvisor. The 2029 square meter subject property is located in the Buena Vista Industrial Park at the northwest end of town. It fronts onto the east side of 115th Street and backs up to Highway 3. There is one 557.4 square meters building located on the property that houses the model railroad, the wood manufacturing operation and other associated uses, and an accessory residential suite. The property is zoned as General Industrial M1, and there are similarly zoned and sized properties to the south and north, and 8 heavy industrial M2 properties to the west are home to South Okanagan Concrete. The M1 zone permits a number of uses such as manufacturing, processing, and finishing products, animal hospitals, storage offices, and storage buildings for trade contractors, repair and sales of tools and small equipment, building supplies, and garden shops. However, the zone does not include a tourist attraction as a permitted use, and indeed our current zoning bylaw does not define any such generic use. Both an industrial development permit and building permit were issued in 2001, but only make mention of the industrial part of the building being intended for woodworking, and indeed it was not until 2003 that the model railway attraction opened up to the public. Since then, business licenses have described the nature of the business only as painted wood products, though in 2011 the business name on the license did change for woodland design to the Osoyoos Desert Model Railway. We conclude from reviewing the regulatory history of the model railway that it has never been formally recognized as a permitted use in the subject property. Staff proposes that this administrative oversight be rectified by approving site-specific rezoning for the property to accommodate, quote, an indoor model railway tourist attraction. Restricting the use of the subject property will protect against any future incursion of tourist attractions into our limited industrial land base. Also, if the model railway ever ceased operating, the property could only be used for industrial uses and an accessory residential suite. It is appropriate at this point to address any concern that what we are proposing could constitute spot zoning. It should first be clarified that zoning a single property differently from the surrounding land use zoning pattern may be appropriate in some circumstances, churches and corner stores and residential areas being common examples, and that modern zoning practices are increasingly promoting mixed-use developments. But spot zoning in its pejorative sense should be avoided when the following concerns apply. A small parcel of land is singled out for privileged treatment of the owner against the public interest. The proposed use does not accord with the OCP policies, and the use could negatively impact surrounding properties. However, these concerns do not apply in this case because the model railway use benefits the community by drawing in many tourists and local visitors. Is consistent with economic sustainability and commercial policies in our OCP and should not adversely impact on surrounding businesses. As part of our due diligence, staff addressed the concern that because the building was originally approved for an industrial manufacturing type of use, it was not necessarily designed for accommodating a large number of people visiting the model railroad. Neil Paget, our building inspector, confirms that the building is generally up to the code for its public access use, but after taking the additional precaution of conducting an on-site fire safety inspection, he identifies a number of required improvements that have to be made to a secondary emergency route that leads from the upper floor viewing area, proceeds down through the woodworking shop area, and exits out onto the parking lot. These required improvements include illuminated exit signage, emergency lighting, an emergency light pack, and an additional stair handrail. The owner has been advised of these requirements, and we are fully confident that they will be properly and quickly carried out. Implications. Community benefits our tourist industry by offering a strong visitor attraction. Organizational. The report was prepared with the assistance of an RDUS planner under our contractual arrangements for development applications. budget NA. Significant dates, first and second readings, July 21st to 14. Public hearing advertisements, July 30th and August 6th. Public hearing, August 12th. Sustainability contributes to economic sustainability. Options, council gives first and second readings to the bylaw amendment, or 2, council requires more information before proceeding. Staff recommends option 1, that bylaw number 108-592-214, Town of Osoyoos zoning amendment bylaw be read a first and second time and proceed to a public hearing, and that the holding of the public hearing be scheduled for August 12 to 14, and that staff give notice of the public hearing in accordance with requirements of the Local Government Act. And I won't read the actual zoning amendment out itself, but I do notice something new in the way that we do things with respect to site-specific permitted uses. And following regional district practice, we will actually identify in on our zoning map the nomenclature that M1 small s, so that people looking at our map know that there's a property there that has special conditions applying to it. We have not done that in the past. Some other municipalities actually have a covenant placed on the property, but that is expensive to do and can create problems if the use ever changes. So this seems to me a very good measure to make sure that people don't get caught out if in fact they are purchasing or thinking of purchasing the property and are not aware that there are special conditions applying to it. The other different practice is that we're recommending, instead of just going for first reading, we go for first and second right off the bat, which is permitted under the Local Government Act. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Director Cunningham, and I'd also like to say thanks for bringing us forward in a different format, because when we look at a town the size of Osoyoos and the very, very limited amount of real estate there, I think spot zoning is going to be a fact of our lives, and it's actually playing into the people that live here and what they want to do for a business. I know before it was always big blocks, R1, R2, R7. But we see that changing as we make better use of our land, and particularly existing businesses that are there, trying to get them a fit so that they have some stability. So thanks for bringing that forward in the program. Comments from council. Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'd like to make that motion based on the wording in option 1.
Okay. So that's first 2 readings, and Councillor Plant seconding. Further dialogue, please. Councillor McCordock.
Thank you. I'm very happy to support this. I think that this has been a top tourist attraction in our town for the past 10 years. And even when I was teaching kindergarten a million years ago, when Mr. Peterson had his model railway over in his house, I used to bring my class over there then. So it's been a star attraction for many, many years. It's certainly recommended by the Visitor Center and by the Chamber of Commerce when I worked in there, and I'm just delighted that you're continuing on, and people always love it, adults and children. So great, a great opportunity for us to keep this going.
Thank you. Anything further? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. First 2 readings have been approved, and have a look at it. There is a public hearing coming forth on the 12th of August, but that'll be well advertised in the newspaper. Okay, that brings us into the business section of the meeting. Business 1, a council meeting report for myself. Mayor Wells, I went to Vancouver and met with the Minister of the Environment, Mary Pollack, and had a good session with her and came back. So there's that report in there for the $100. Councillor Plant Rhodes, discussion, all in favor, opposed, carried. Thank you. Business 2, election cost sharing agreements. Report from CAO Romanco, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Section 40 of the Local Government Act allows for the cost of an election to be shared under an agreement between a local government and another local government or a board of school trustees for the conduct of the election by one party for the other in conjunction with an election of the other. The Town of Osoyoos Chief Election Officer has acted as the presiding election officer for both the RDOS and the School District Number 53 for the advanced voting and the general voting in past elections. Both parties have asked that this be done again in the 2014 elections. The attached cost-sharing agreement has been approved by both the RDOS and the school district and has been presented for council for approval. There is no election required for the RDOS. If there is no election required for the RDOS or the school district, the agreements would no longer be in effect. In terms of implementations, there's community, the cost savings for all parties, none organizationally, budget savings due to cost sharing, economics of scale, and two options are presented. One, that council approve the cost sharing agreement with the RDOS and the school district number 53 for the 2014 elections, and that the town signatories be authorized to sign. And two, the council not approve the cost sharing agreement, and administration recommends option number 1.
Thank you. Councilor McCordle, please.
Yes, I definitely move option 1, that we enter into the cost-sharing agreements.
And Councilor Rhodes as the seconder. Any further discussion? Pretty well straightforward. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Business 3, sewer capacity study. CAO Romanko, please.
Thank you. The administration provided council with the attached review and summary comments of the sewer capacity study that was completed by Sherwood Lytle Associates. Council passed the following motion, that to resolve that the report be put forward for public comment until July 7th, 2014, and it be brought back to the July 21st. Information relating to the availability of the sewer capacity study was there for public review, was advertised in the Osoyoos Times, through the town's e-news system and on our website. The study was picked up by a few interested parties. However, no comments were provided to the administration. In terms of implications, the community benefits from the third-party assessment of its sewer capacity study. The report can be used by community members to assess the municipality's actions to ensure the integrity of a sewer system capital infrastructure. Organizationally, the third-party assessment provides the organization an evaluation of its responses to immediate sewer service development and its ability to position for projected growth and sustainability. No budget implications, no significant dates, and this report will assist council in decision making to ensure Osoyoos Lake and community sustainability. So the options that are being presented are to 1, re-advertise to seek out additional public comment, 2, pass a resolution accepting the report as information to be used in the 5-year capital plan and business planning process. The recommendation from the administration is option 2, and that is to accept the report as information. The report is a very positive assessment of the administration, True Consulting, and council working together to ensure appropriately planned sewer services that positions the community to supply current needs and future growth. Would council like me to highlight some of the items out of the report for the public? Or?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I'll keep going then. The report provides no surprises and illustrates that the need for a main lift station improvements have been identified and financially addressed in the 5-year capital plan. 2, the need for additional reclaimed spray lands and infrastructure have been identified, and work is currently underway to additional facilities within the 5-year capital plan. Number 3, the infiltration bed at Desert Park is noted as an important facility to deal with emergency reclaimed water winter storage issues. Number 4, work is being done to address the major concern, which is winter storage of reclaimed water. Security of additional lands is being sought through working with the provincial government. Additional sites are being implemented, and the town is moving to a more self-managed control of the reclaimed water distribution. Number 5, recent improvements to our sewer system through the investment in the Northwest Sewer Funds positions the community to handle our growth and additional services beyond our boundaries. Number 6, additional improvements to the sewer system are included in the 5-year capital plan with assigned funding. Number 7, current work on the new DCC bylaw will address the future funding of needed facilities and addresses who pays. And number 8, an identified minor shortcoming in one of our mains can easily be addressed if needed at the time of additional development.
Thank you, CEO Romanko. Just some comments on that. Also, this was a very large study that was done. I think it was very important for everybody here, for the citizens, for council, administration, engineering. It really brought out whether there were shortcomings, whether we had the capability to move ahead both within the town, and whether there was room for any extraterritorial capacity. So we were really looking at the capacity, and the report that came back was just very thorough and very good. And it's going to allow us to make sure that we have some crown land set aside for future areas of disposal. We're already looking at the airport, but when that trunk line goes out to the airport, we will be looking at it and making sure we have land secured in the area of the Osoyoos landfill, and so that we have some further capacity out there, looking at least a 20-year window that we can handle the growth of Osoyoos. And some of what I'm hearing, and some of the people that have been coming around, it would appear that Osoyoos is going to be back on the growth model again. And of course, that's where this all started from, going back when in the 2008s, when the town was really expanding, and you had to wonder what the capacity of those sewer lagoons were, and the treatment plant and things like that. So it's highlighted. It also highlighted some of our, if I could call them, pinch point areas, and there's 3 or 4 of them around town that we will now address and get them into the early parts of the 5-year program. Like, we'll probably start picking some of those pinch points off next year. So it's been very thorough, and a great addition to the town of Osoyoos and the knowledge that we have to provide this service. Councillors, please. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'd like to make a motion based on option number 2 to accept the report as information and to be used in the 5-year capital and business planning process.
Okay, and seconder, Councillor Plant. And speaking to it, Councillor Rhodes, please.
So just to expand on what Mayor Wells was saying, one of the many questions that's always given to council is, I'm planning to build, and I want to know if I can, if I can hook up to your sewer system. We've never really had a real definitive answer for those kind of things, and there was always an awful lot of guesswork that was put into it. So recently we've had an application from a neighbor on the on the north part of our town, and that came in the form of an application to hook up to our sewer system. This document answered that question for us right away, and it allowed us to progress and perhaps look at a boundary expansion opportunity in that area as well. So I just wanted to say those few words, only because, often these studies get used temporarily for a few minutes, put on the shelf, and never used again. But this is very much a living document. I'm glad we have it, and there's always that real-world application that answers these questions that in the past are somewhat of a mystery for us. So thank you.
Great. Thanks, Councillor Rhodes. Any further input into this? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Business 4, Spartan Drive Hammerhead turnaround. This was the north end of Spartan Drive, and for years and years, people turned around on private property. And that finally came to an end, and we had to look at providing a turnaround area. This had already gone to tender, and when they really got into taking down a bank, the gravel was of that extreme gravel nature, just mostly rock, and so they ran into some small problems there. And I'll let Mr. CEO Romanko take over, please.
Okay, construction of the Hammerhead turnaround was approved by council to eliminate vehicles turning around on private property when they were faced with a dead end at the end of Spartan Drive. Two options were presented to council during the budget debate, and council approved the construction turnaround that will accommodate a truck. The decision was to facilitate the need for garbage truck turnaround. Construction problems have occurred as described in the attached report from TRU. As identified in the report, the original project specifications can be achieved. However, additional funding is needed to manage slope and difficult materials and handle material difficulties. The additional costs have been estimated and provided and relate to having to enter private property to action bank stabilization. The additional amount is $5,386 and would come from operational contingency. A second option is presented, and that option involves changing the project specifications to continue with the truck turnaround but in a different design. The new design involves movement of this turnaround area and additional paving on the boulevard across the street from the turnaround structure. The resident most impacted has been consulted, and they are fine with the new proposed design. There would be no increase in cost to enact this design. An additional cost has been identified in both options, which involves the moving of a street light pole. This pole movement would facilitate the entire project no matter which option is chosen. The cost of this service is $2,400. The budget amount for this project was $50,000. If the additional $5,385 and the $2,400 for the pole were incorporated in the total project cost, the project would be approximately $3,785 over budget. This is a neighborhood impact project that will assist with traffic movement. Budget additional $3,785 of funding would be needed if the decision was to stay with the original design, with the funds coming from operational contingency. Significant dates. Decision is needed now so that work can proceed. Three options are presented. One is approve the enactment of the original design and the additional expenditure of $7,786 for the over budgeted amount of totaling $3,785. Option 2, approve the second design option that would only involve the additional expenditure of $2,400 to move the light pole. And 3, request additional information. The recommendation is option 2. Option 1 requires expenditure of funds over budgeted amount. When implementation of option 2 will achieve the same results and will stay within budget. Affected residents in the area have been consulted and are positive with the new design.
Thank you. Again, just a comment, I was on site there. I think if they get rid of that new push brace holding up the pole, I think everyone would be a lot happier. That's quite the construction feature they've got down there now, holding that thing up. So.
Yeah, I talked to Fortis, and they'll be using that brace as the new pole.
Okay.
And then they'll just run a guy wire.
Okay. Okay.
So that's the plan.
Okay.
And it'll be in behind. One of the reasons we have to move it, it'll be in behind the wall. Okay. Otherwise, it would have been in front of the wall on the roadway.
Right. Okay, Councilor McCordock.
May I just ask a question? The property that is affected by backing up with the new plan, is that going to? It's fine with the owners right now. I've read that. Will that impact his ability to sell that property? And does there need to be something put on title when it is sold, or it's kind of hard to tell? I haven't been down there to see exactly where it would impact.
The paving wouldn't be on private property, it'd be on the boulevard.
The road allowance.
Yeah, the boulevard there is very large, so all we're doing is we're paving a portion of the boulevard.
Okay, great,
yeah.
Thank you.
And in fact, the property owner said, I have less grass to cut.
Okay.
Anything further?
So I would be happy to recommend option 2, that we approve the second design option, which would only involve the additional expenditure of $2,400 to move the light pole.
Okay, and that seconder, Councilor Rhodes. Anything further? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Under business 5, the addition to the agenda, a report on the ministerial meetings at the Union of BC Municipalities, probably around that third week of September. CAO Romanko, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Annually, municipalities are encouraged to meet with cabinet ministers at the UBCM conference to discuss issues of local or provincial concern. And in the past, members of council and the CAO have met with ministers to discuss issues of local concern. Attached, please find an annual invitation to make a request for meetings with the ministers. The administration is looking for direction to book meetings with appropriate ministers to discuss issues that are important to council. Some of the issues that have been identified that could be included, one is our community's need to receive Crown grant lands to ensure the sustainability of our spray effluent area needs. Two, a need for the province to establish an information sharing agreement with Alberta to enable municipalities to access information to enforce municipal fines for traffic and roadway infractions. 3, the need for the province to establish a system that will enable municipalities to recover municipal fines for traffic and roadway infractions prior to perpetrators receiving vehicle or driver's license renewals from the province. And although it's not in the report, one that we also discussed related to the current legislation in the community charter relating to dog seizure, and currently the community charter only gives us authority to seize a dog if it has seriously injured or killed, seriously being a subjective word, and even then we must obtain a warrant. One of the things we'd like to look at is this law being relaxed a bit to give us more authority to impound before a warrant is obtained and define seriously injured, just further define it. So this is something else that that we feel that would really needs a look from the province. So in terms of the community benefits from developing and maintaining a relationship with cabinet ministers, decision needs to be made today because they're due August 15th, deadline for submission. And we're recommending, or the option being presented is provide direction to submit meeting requests on all or some of the above identified issues. 2, provide direction to submit meeting requests on all or some of the above issues and other issues identified by council. Or 3, provide direction that meeting with ministers are not needed this year. And the administration is recommending that council continue to meet with ministers, whether is option 1 with only these issues or additional issues are identified.
Council, please. Council McCordock.
Yes, I would move option 2, that we submit some meeting requests, and I don't want to just say the identified issues, so I would say option 2 in case something else shows up before August the 15th. I'm assuming that Mayor Wells is attending the UBCM. I will be away, so I'm not. So
okay.
That's that. But that would be my recommendation.
Yes, and and seconded by Councillor Rhodes. And speaking to that question, yes, I think it's time to get the spray effluent lands kicked off and start having that discussion about our Crown land wants and seeing what that looks like and seeing what the ministries have to say down there. So we can leave that off. Anything further on that, Councillor Rhodes?
Just for clarity, I'm wondering, did you want suggestions today, or how are you going to receive those? Or
if you had suggestions today, I'd greatly appreciate them. If not, certainly within the next week, I think would be helpful. Because I'm going on vacation and I've got to submit all these requests in for the appointment. So if you haven't got one now,
yeah, I'd like to suggest re-engaging with our highways department if that opportunity is there. Even though they've been very good and did a lot of work on our bridge and some of the other areas, there's still a number of matters that need to be taken care of that were part of that planning, and one of them is that section in front of the owl, kind of that blind corner if you're in the right-hand turn progressing north, how you kind of got to swerve out of the way there. And it's kind of a bump out area with the lowered curb and that kind of thing. And we had felt that there was a pretty important need to improve the visibility of that so that people progressing through that intersection from the south going north would not impact anybody that was standing on that bump out there. And I bring that up because it's been brought to my attention a couple of close incidents that we've had there, you know, with our tourist situation and the increased, you know, people using that intersection. It's getting pretty scary. I think it always has been, but certainly that was one of the matters that was talked about as a fairly high priority that was not dealt with in that previous negotiations.
Well, from what I recall, they were supposed to put a right-hand turn arrow in the right lane so that people wouldn't be able to, you know.
Yeah.
Or maybe only, maybe make the right
Yeah,
hand
yeah,
turn
it would be a
only
right-hand
downhill.
turn only lane, no, and not going forward. I think. Were you looking for something beyond that?
Well, there was some discussion about improving the visibility of that through some kind of a bollard or signage in there or something. I can't recall exactly what it is or was.
Yeah.
I've had complaints on that also, same issue, and we did present it to the ministry, but maybe we'll do it again because someone's going to get smoked there. There's no doubt about it. And people passing on the right, going fast, and there you don't even realize that those people are just actually standing there waiting across the street right in front of the owl door. So I think we could try that again.
Okay.
And I'll be a good spokesman on that, CJ. I know you won't be there, but I'll be there.
Thank
and
you.
I'll do a good job. Okay. Anything else on the UBCM note? I guess I'm the only one going, but I think there's enough issues there that I can present, and there's you know, there's the mayor's caucus down there as a part of it, and then the resort municipality, they always have a meeting for the elected folks. The administrative people meet off year or off season, so we probably have some information there. So if anyone else wants to go and lighten the load, you okay. So we have that. We don't need a was that a resolution?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so then I need that seconder, Councillor McCordoff. And any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. That brings us to the reports, and we have the general Sun Bowl Arena and payroll accounts, cash requirements in the amount of the general cash. Oh, this is a big number. $3,545,853.59. Sun Bowl cash requirements in the amount of $2,926.39, and net payroll accounts for receipt only in the amount of $66,337.83. Any council input into those numbers? Hearing none, they'll be adopted by consensus. I guess that general cash requirement of $3.5 million, we must be forwarding our tax monies.
Yeah, we're just
don't get to keep them very long.
We don't get to keep it very long. It doesn't burn a hole in our pocket, and it gets passed on to other levels of government.
Okay, that's on the report. So then on committee reports, Councillor Rhodes on the Waterfront Steering Committee. Any comments on that, please?
Well, I'd like to just give a little bit of a brief synopsis of the notes that are here. The committee met on the 15th of July, and the essence of the meeting was intended to get some direction based on our unsuccessful tendering that we did last April. And just to refresh everybody's memory, we sent out a request for proposals, and each of the proposals that came back to us were well over budget, and we felt that there was a need to look at a different planning method so that we could, achieve all of our goals and I guess, to be able to afford it. And so we discussed a number of different phasing opportunities that we had. I think the notes here kind of lay it out exactly how we're going to move forward with that. And the nice thing about phasing is that at some point or another we will achieve all of our goals, everything will get done, but it allows us to be more sensitive towards our budget over a longer period of time. And we're going to look at some of the priorities and some of the things that make sense at this time based on the budget money that we have. And this report just kind of outlines those plans and some of the things that we're going to be moving forward with.
Thank you. And may I add on to that?
You sure can, yeah.
And also the opportunity for small Osoyoos businesses to pick that up. That was one of the considerations. There's going to be some smaller chunks there, and some of our local landscape folks might be able to bid on it or team up and get a joint application in and pick up some of that business that we're always seeing go out of town when they're big projects. So could we have and that motion was to receive, and Councillor Plant seconding. Any further input? All in favor? That has been received. And that brings us to the CAO report. CAO Romanko, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Just a few of the activities that the administration has been involved in over the last couple of weeks. Starting in community services, the Sun Bowl Arena is scheduled to open on Saturday the 19th, and it did. We have a number of different camps in there, including bringing people from out of town in to do some economic development for us, and it's going to be pretty busy right through until the end of August. So really something to look forward to. Cactus Kids Day Camp is going well. They have registered numbers of up to 40 kids on some days. The BC Under 14 Summer Games basketball team held an overnight clinic at the Sonora Community Center on July 14th and 15th. And we've had one athlete from Osoyoos taking part in that, and that just happens to be our own Gerald Davis's son. So he brought the team out here for a couple of days of practice. And also Desert Park water flood damage is now complete, and with staff met with the building inspector and Stutters and to finalize the substantial completion. Corporate Services is doing election preparation, bylaw enforcement issues, dogs, nuisance in the park, unsightly properties, boat trailer parking are all high on the agenda at this time of the year. And also dealing with some insurance issues. In terms of finance, submission of loan authority bylaw for the fire halt and inspector for the municipalities for approval. Finalized pre-authorized payment plan for 2014-15 notices, and they're preparing notices for pending tax sale properties, and also mailed out outstanding notices to current and arrears property owners. In terms of public works, you'll notice that there's been a significant amount of work done by the marina to clean up the grasses and that. And although it's not intended to be a manicured area, we did want to free up the irrigation system to get better at our trees in there. So a lot of work has gone into that particular area. Storm sewer, Bayview Phase 2. And also by Campo, that's completed, so we're just waiting for a big rain to see if it works. And work is going on Spartan Drive Hammerhead turnaround, and also Jubilee Drive Phase 1 sidewalks is progressing, and our beach cleaning is looking very nice. And quite often in the mornings you drive out there, it looks very, very nice in the morning. In terms of myself, I've been dealing with some MMBC landfill complaints. Completed an MMBC survey on services and how it's doing. I was not very positive in terms of some of my comments to them. Certainly, we're having issues not at the residential level, but certainly at the landfill depot areas. So hopefully, we'll be able to work with MMBC to make some program modifications that will make it easier for all of us, but I'm not holding my breath on that. But I contacted TELUS, Wi-Fi for the office park, and it's in the works. He's exploring that right now. and also been working on the fire hall communication plan. So that's my report for today.
Great. Thank you. I guess that brings us to councillor reports. Oh, maybe we should receive that report. Councillor Plant, McCordoff, all in favor. That report has been received into the minutes. Councillor reports, Councillor McCordoff.
Thank you. So last week I attended the Sonora Center Community Services Draft Master Plan. It was a public meeting, and it was Lee's and Company from Vancouver that had done this, and it was very well received. There were quite a few people there. It was lots of interesting questions. They looked at parks and buildings and services and all of the things that need to be addressed over the next 10 years. And there is on the town website, you have until July the 28th. You can have a look at the draft plan, a little bit of it, and do an online questionnaire. So I would suggest that if you're interested in that, please do that. There was questionnaires there for people who attended the meeting, but that's have your say. Have a look at it and see what you think, and see if you agree with their suggestions. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was fires, and it doesn't, the minute you turn on the news, the first thing on the agenda is fires. So I think there was 160 of them burning in BC the other day. Fortunately, we've had a little bit of cooler weather with not so many winds, and some of those fires have been they're getting a handle on them. But there are many of them very, very close to us. And I just want to remind people that the Kamloops Fire Center, which we're part of, has a no burning zone right now. There's no burning of campfires, tiki torches, anything like that, wood barrels on private property. That's your own property, or on public property. And so we just need to be all very aware of this. At noon when I was watching TV, they said that on the news that the Washington forest fire, which is 40 or 50 miles south of us, it was the worst one that Washington has ever had. And they've had numerous houses burned down. I think we've been much more fortunate here. Perhaps in BC we're a little more aggressive with fires, I'm not sure. But definitely the firefighters in this province have been spending a lot of money, of course, but it's been a really successful enterprise. So one of the things that we need to be super careful of is smoking and cigarettes. Many of the fires in BC have been started by humans, and whether they had a campfire or whether they tossed a cigarette out, this is not a good thing. We just have to be aware of this, that this causes problems, and you know, if you see somebody that's not doing the right thing, you can always phone the Kamloops Fire Center and explain that. We all need to be vigilant. We all need to take care of this, and we all need to help other people and remind them if they're going to put our lives in danger. And the last thing that I want to just say before we address a recess for a couple of weeks is that I was not able to attend the street dance the other day put on in front of the senior center, but I understand it was very well attended. It was lots of fun, and I just want to thank all of the people who organized it. They always do a terrific job, and that would be a lot of the seniors, I think. I was talking to a couple of the seniors the day after, and they had been involved in setting it up and cleaning up at the end of the night, and they were so impressed that many of the people who attended the dance said, "Is there anything we can do to help?" And they were picking up garbage and putting cans away and bottles, and so I say, well done, because those dances depend on volunteers and on people cooperating. So that's terrific news to hear that. So I hope everybody's going to enjoy the rest of the next month and read the Osoyoos Times. They will have all kinds of activities in there for you to attend. So thank you. That's my report.
Thanks, Councillor McCordoff. Councillor Rhodes, please.
Well, I'm going to take a pass again this week.
Okay, and Councillor Ryan, he's going to take a pass. I believe he's in Eastern Canada. Councillor Plante, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Actually, Councillor McCordoff stole a little bit of my thunder, but that's okay because it's important to talk about this because the last time that I was here, I talked a little bit about water safety and just being safe and playing on our lakes. And so, yeah, in that time frame, all of a sudden we had all these fires that were happening all across BC and into Washington, and to read these stories of these small towns, 100 homes burnt down and 650 people displaced out of their homes. And I have relatives in Smith Creek, and they were evacuated, and who you feel bad for is too the kids. The kids don't understand what's happening and why they have to leave their homes. And so just again, one of the places that actually they gave me information on that they continued to look on as far as wildfire management was bcwildfire.ca. It gives you a lot of different resources on fire smarting your home and property and preventing wildfires while enjoying the outdoors in BC. So as Councillor McCordoff said, most of this is human carelessness. So just be careful out there as far as when you're camping. We all want to enjoy everything we have to offer. However, yeah, these have been some struggling times. And as far as some of these wildfires, the other thing that I want to say is that we have a lot of forest fighters, volunteers out there that have spent many, many, many hours. We're talking thousands of volunteers who have done work throughout BC with these fires and spot fires. So if you happen to see one, or I mean, thank you for the good work that you're doing and continue to do. And again, another play safe message from the town council and mayor. So thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Plante. I'll just hit on a few of the issues that I've been talking to people about, and I've met with a couple of business people downtown. They just had some concerns looking at possibly moving forward on some enlargements of their businesses, and so we were talking about what that involved and some of the parking issues that are involved there. I talk quite frequently with Mike Stiles and Dan Bauer. They both are accessibility people that we use as a bit of a resource for the town of Osoyoos, and looking at access awareness and how that affects our town. And we've been having some good dialogue with them. I met with the MLA and Janet Shaw on the Desert Hospice, and we're certainly looking at some movement coming forward on that. So if anyone's interested in any of the hospice and what it can do, and there's while we'll don't know if we'll ever have an actual facility, a hospice facility, there's so much that can be done at home, and there's a real great group of people, both Oliver and Osoyoos, that are working towards this and getting some funding together and getting programs together. So it's really great. If anyone out there would like to volunteer or even be involved, I can certainly give you some contact numbers in town, and you could make that hookup. Again, I went to that community master plan, that public consultation. That was very well turned out. There was good attendance there. People were quite interested in what was happening and what that's going to look like for the next. They were talking 20 years out. So if people want to get involved, that was a great opportunity. I did attend the street dance. Yeah, that was very well done. Kudos to the seniors. Here we are. The seniors are putting on a dance, and it's mostly kids about this big. So it was neat to see that high and low coming together for a real good time. Coming up, BC Transit on Wednesday in the park. So this is going to be market in the park, just like the Saturday market. It's now in this park uptown, and BC Transit is going to have a booth there. They're looking for input, information. So if you have any comments about about the service to Penticton, the cost, the frequency. In fact, it goes to Kelowna, I believe, one day a week. It does go through all the way to Kelowna for medical appointments. So if you have anything to say to BC Transit, here's your opportunity. Wednesday, I don't have the time, but I'll say 6 o'clock. You'll have an opportunity. You have the time?
Yes, I do. It's from 5:30 to 8:30. It was originally down at Gyro, and I sent them an email and asked them to move it up to here, and they were quite happy to do it. So it will be right outside here at Town Square with the market.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, it's going to be interesting. I'm going out on Wednesday. I'm volunteering to go out on the Osoyoos Lake Water Quality Society boat. So that'll be interesting. Go out, and they have 4 spots that they do sample testing on out in the lake. So I will be going out on that. And I guess one that was kind of neat was Shirley Robotham, the Shirley tree. She was actually the main instigator of the Pioneer Park walkway. She was the drive behind it all. And associated with her was a bunch of seroptimists and other people. But really, truly, it was Shirley that got the job done. Shirley passed away a couple of years back now?
Year and a half.
Year and a half or so ago. So they had a tree, and all the seroptimists were there and recognized Shirley and her volunteerism spirit that we find so much of in Osoyoos. So that was a nice little ceremony over there. And that is my report. Motion to adjourn. McCordoff, Plant, all in favor. Good afternoon, folks. 1 hour on the button.